So I'm gonna have to play that thing again. Forgive me, guys. Technology shows me flames sometimes. I'm just gonna replay this video for anybody watching. Steady patch, steady patch. One only bottle store, man. Yeah, yeah. We reached a million. Yeah. Bangeni. Hey, Nina. Yeah. Hey, Renee. Welcome, guys. All right. I just stopped that, and I'm back in here. I'd like to welcome all of you to today's session. We are waiting for my esteemed colleague, Batabile. She should be joining us at any time. She's always the late one here. We know, and we'll forgive her for that. But for those who are tuned in, please jump onto our Google live stream page so that we can have a meaningful engagement. I'm about to switch off my Facebook, guys, because I am live streaming from my home Wi-Fi network. And what happens when we review the content afterwards is that it's not so great because it's busy streaming on two platforms. So I'm switching this off. I had this on so that I can let you know that we are definitely on YouTube. If you want to see where the link is, go to my previous post and click on there. It will take you directly to our YouTube page. Thank you so much. Check you soon. Hey y'all, Sanbona and Dumelang. Guys, I'm excited. Tsepo, Palis, you guys are good?
Good. This side, good. Very excited.
Yeah, extremely excited and very good. I think it's a great milestone where we're at the present moment.
I don't want
to. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't know why I'm the only one saying
Ashman, I've had a long
I'm putting you guys on the spot.
I've been in meetings since the morning, so my face is not as nice as it used to be. But yeah, there you go. Let me maybe put on my camera for those, especially people that handle money. If they don't put their faces, people get worried. So there you go.
Thank you. Guys, you can see the money man in the team. So at least you know who you're dealing with. Just take a screenshot in case you see,
Guys, Lebo, don't start, please.
I'd like to welcome everybody. I'm that guy. I'm troublesome like that. I would like to welcome my team. I'd like to welcome everybody who's watching from the various platforms that we're broadcasting from. Two in particular being our Facebook Live as well as our YouTube stream. Major milestone. What we thought was impossible is possible. This is week 5, and we've just crossed R1 million. And this is for 2 groups so that we can provide clarity to our members. Group 1 is still the core, the one that is the prospective co-op exec figures shortly, and then the other stock file, the second group, which is still working towards being 100 members, is currently sitting on just over, I think it's close to 200,000 now, Tsepo. I could be mistaken. Yeah. I think it was about 199,000 the last time I saw it.
Yeah, let me just double check for you quickly.
I'm excited, guys. For those who don't know what we're doing and who are just hearing R1 million and are excited because of the number, 5 weeks ago, 26 June, we launched what we call the THUDmoney franchise stokvel, and it's been 5 weeks of pandemonium for us. Like, we've been running nonstop. We've been learning so much. We've been attracting a whole lot of people out there, and from the general public, there's people who have reached out to us, friends and networks, and all sorts of people who have come with both angles. There's the positives, the pros of what we are doing, and the cons of it. And we're very fortunate that we've got a network of strong people. Some of our mentors have jumped on. They're helping us with our modeling of this thing to make it better. Some of our friends who are in the food industry are calling us. They're warning us about the downside, some of the things that are happening that might be negative or that might befall us in the journey that we have decided to take. And then there's also the other side where we've got some of our colleagues who are in the restaurant industry who actually own businesses in the food space, and they're killing it. They're making a really great killing. So we're learning, we're taking everything from all sides, and then we're making our own independent decisions on what is the best way to move forward. And we're very careful, we're very prudent, because we are using our members' money to do all of this. And for the record, even though we said there's a 500 Rand non-refundable fee, we haven't touched that 500 Rand. We're still using our own money to rally up support and stuff. We will be deducting that money the moment we reach our milestone, which is the 1.5 million. Because all of this takes money to run. None of it happens without money. Melissa, I think there's something happening with your mic on your side. Just double check that. Thank you. All right. So the target is 100 members in each group, 1.5 million Rand that is being raised. And with that 1.5 million Rand, we go on to launch a franchise. Keeping it really that simple. And then over a 5-year period, franchise members, the co-op members own the franchise, and hopefully that the franchise operates at an optimal pace and being run by the right operator. And then we work on getting returns for all of those members. My colleagues will come in and they will just remind us on some of the things that we've been talking about every week in our build up to this. Some of the things that we've done over the last 7 days since we last had this live stream. We've gone out to different sites. We've gone to the Val. We went to Tembisa. We were in Soweto. We were in Mamelodi. We pretty much touched different bases across Gauteng, just looking at sites, engaging business owners, engaging communities, and finding out what is going on out there, and trying to find the best deals out there. And we are working very closely with the first franchisor who decided that they could participate in this opportunity and partner with us. It's the first in this country where a stokvel can engage a franchise, and some sort of deal can actually happen. Other franchises are just not hearing us. Other brands, they're like, there's too many shareholders, too many people in this thing. No, we'd rather deal with 1 or 2 people. So it's really commendable that we've got Jimmy's Killer Group that has decided to walk this journey with us. It wasn't only because they accepted our proposal to walk this journey with us. It was also because, hey, they realized that this is quite innovative. It's community driven, and there's so much more that we can do collectively versus individually. So there's many wins along the way. I'd just like to introduce my colleagues very quickly, starting with Palisa. Palisa, do you want to tell our community who you are and what you do?
Hi, everyone. My name is Balisa. So I'm an author of the book called Stokvels. I work a lot with stokvels in terms of financial education and formalizing them in terms of governance. And that's exactly my part in this role. I will just be making sure that everything is going right according to the co-op side. So yeah, that's what I do. Just following the rules. So I'm almost the police in the team.
Yes. I was about to use that term and say Palisa is our policeman. Next up is Tsepo Muloi. Tsepo, introduce yourself, Baba.
Super. Hi, everyone. Tsepo. I'm the one they call the money guy. So I make sure that your money is spent where it's supposed to be spent. So not really the police, but make sure that every cent is accountable for. And then also make sure it comes back to you, to your own pocket, the right way. That's what I do in this whole part of the journey. I think at the rate we are going, we're going to have to write that 1 million Rand book co-authored by all 4 of us. Main co-author being Sleboho over there. So yeah, so Palisa, let's write that book, please.
Thanks, Tsepo. Batabile, are you on, my sister?
Hi.
Batabile.
Hello. Yes, I'm on. I can hear you very well.
Introduce yourself. That's who you are and what you do.
Okay. Hi, family.
Perfect.
My name is
Quick intro from your side.
Batabile Mureki. I'm the multi-franchisee for the past 6 years. So my contribution in the franchise Stokvel is the experience of running the operations of different franchises. And they were based, when I started, I was based in the township. So it's also in the township market in the food industry. Thank you.
Okay. But Tabila's network kind of threw us off just a little bit there. Okay. First question shooting in. I think I really want to keep today's show quite easygoing. I don't want to have too much structure to it, Seppo. There's a question that just popped in from Lael over there. She's like, so how will you choose the members on group 2? Can you just quickly give I think we need to quickly update everybody as to how this happens, because they think we choose. We don't choose. It's based on payments, right? Just give them
100%.
Rundown process.
Yeah, so 100% is based on payments. It's based on the minimum milestone. So at the present moment, for you to qualify for a group, in this instance, group 2, the minimum that must be in is 3,000 rand, right? So that's the first part. In terms of OSS, should I say qualifying to be part of the list, to be nominated, to be selected from. That's the first part. And then once everyone has paid their minimum, and ideally before the end of August, then we then look at that those who have paid, how many of them are committed. And when we talk about commitment, we're talking about those who paid even more than the minimum amount. And then from there on, and then we make sure that we take those ones through, because those ones showed higher commitment. And then from there on, then we looked at who out of the minimum 3,000 rand they paid, who paid first, basically. So that's basically how we run. It's based on payments and commitment, because ultimately, the more you commit, the more we want to work with you, because it's a collaborative journey. So yeah.
All right. And then the next question that popped in is, when is the closing date for group 2 members? Again, I think it's just giving an understanding there that, guys, that how this thing is driven, we don't do timelines anymore, we do milestones. So 100 group members could fill up by today. We would close it. The moment we reach 100 people, we close that group, and then we start moving their money into a separate group, which is called a cooperative group. So the people that will remain in that main group, where you see a lot of people, are people who have not paid. And even with them, we're just giving them a 2-month window period. We are going to remove everybody. We don't want watchers on our app, people who are just sitting there monitoring what we are doing. We got some learnings when we launched the People Stokvel, where we each contribute 100 rand a month. There were a lot of people that were just sitting there, not paying, but we're like, why are you here? Like, why are you not leaving then if you're not paying? So those learnings, we are going to take them and become a bit stricter in the THUDmoney franchise Stokvel. We'll give you a 2-month window period. Take action or you don't take it. If you don't take action, we're going to ask you to leave. In fact, we'll automatically remove people that have not been doing anything or we don't see action. It's just very important to raise. Okay, I've got here some questions that have been put up. But Tabila, I'm going to direct this one at you, my sister. We have been out and about doing site searches. There's been so many experiences on the ground. Can you tell us about your experience? I think you were out in Orange Farm, right? Tabile, and I think she's speaking and she's muted. I know, my friend. She's like that. Okay. Whilst we wait for Tabile, somebody in the team, please nudge her. Just on WhatsApp. Oh, thank you. But Tabile, tell us about your experience of the site search. Ooh, talk to us. Tell us about your site search in Orange Farm. I think Batabi is having some network issues. I think she must. Okay, I'm gonna mute her. Somebody just tell her to change phones. I think that's what must happen on her side. I suspect that the phone she's using or the network, one of them. I'm not sure which is which. Anyway, I want to share my experience. I went out First Pakiso went out. He went and checked Flair off. Great area. It's got a lot of people, got some great demographics. One challenge, there's no other stores there. So it's a big no-no when we spoke to the franchisor. And also just starting to understand how the space works. It's a big no because you need to see competition in the space to almost be able to predict how things work, So that was a big lesson on our part as to, okay, leave that alone. And then we went into Soweto, checked out all the shopping centers. We stayed away from malls for obvious reasons. Malls are a bit more rigid around negotiations when it comes to rental agreements, and all of that. But shopping centers are owner run, they're still smaller, and the negotiations are just a whole lot better. And we also want to make sure that our franchise or Jimmy's, it becomes a bit more palatable. The list that we share with them in terms of, because they have their own negotiation structure when it comes to sites that are chosen, that they've got a whole criteria of what must go down. So checked out a few places, Dobson Point, went to Dobsonville, went to, all over Soweto, a couple of places. One that I found to be really, really interesting and baffling, and then got an opportunity to speak to the guys at in one of the brands, which I obviously can't mention right now, was that in Meadowlands, there's two shopping centers very close to each other. The one shopping center has got an anchor tenant that I cannot mention that targets the lower demographic. And then we were asking some of the franchisees that used to be there as to what happened, why did their stores close and stuff. So we started understanding the magic behind that. In spaces like that, you don't go for an area that targets the lower end of the customer base, because they're not going to buy, and they're not going into these shopping centers they've got a very limited spend in their pocket, and they need to buy essentials. So you don't go into a center like that. You try and choose anchor tenants where there's also like a clothing shop and other franchises that are there where there's a variety, because you can see that they draw traffic and it's predictable in terms of how your own business will do. So that's one of the bigger lessons for us, that you can't just pick a spot and say, oh, wow, this spot looks great, we want to own here. You want to pick a spot where there's other people. I think you guys might have seen when you're watching TV, I haven't had a TV in decades, but I know that when you're watching TV, if they put an alcoholic ad or a banking ad, other banks are going to have an ad just after them, like in the same spot. So whether it's a financial services ad or it's a liquor ad or whatever, they're often very close to each other. So you're starting to understand that everybody tries to target where there's already a market share of sorts, Tsepo, any insights from what you've picked up?
Yeah, look, I think you touched on a very important point. In my banking experience, we call that share of wallet, So it's to understand the target client that you're targeting and their share of wallet, and where are you in the priority of that share of wallet, I forgot the theory behind it, but ultimately is how important are you? So if you're going for extremely low end, buying ready-made food is not on their priority list, or it's not top of their priority list, I guess, from that point of view. So you have to always be in the right space at the right time. Yes, I think the brand that we're offering, or should I say the franchise that we're going into, is very affordable. But we also must bear in mind that at the same time that the target market that we are targeting, it's quite great. So what I've learned, I guess, and as well what I've seen is particularly, because from an Orange Farm perspective, it has grown that area quite rapidly. I think the particular what Batabi David said, to the Orange Farm mall that's next to the Orange Farm station. That station has always been busy. I mean, I've been there before the mall was built. I've been there post the mall was built, and it's just a growing space. So what I've learned is you also want a place where it's growing as well. You don't want already it's a stagnant environment, but it's also a potential growing environment, and the people there are also looking to grow with you. therefore they'll support you. So yeah, so I think that's some of the learnings that we're taking out from this journey.
Yeah. Palisa, tell me. So I know that you don't sleep in the background, Shem, with all of the documents that we have to put together, and you as our policeman, we are throwing questions your way. Whatever information we gather, the excitement and whatever else happens, we constantly have to come back to you and say, Palisa, are we doing this thing right or not? What have you learned? What are you learning? I mean, because this is a new model for all of us dealing building a franchising model for a co-op. Where are your struggles and where are your wins currently?
Well, it's definitely a great learning experience. I was just telling you that I was reading through Batabile's franchise documents and I went dizzy because of the new model and trying to almost check everything against what the franchise allows against to what the co-op allows, and the co-op is very detailed in terms of the act and what we need to do to follow it to the T, and the act is quite long and it needs everything to be checked against it. So the upside is the learnings and finding out that there's quite a lot a co-op can actually be able to achieve more than what I had initially thought of. Because there's been so much pushback in terms of working co-ops and how such few co-ops are in South Africa, you get to understand the challenges that they are facing, why they aren't maybe succeeding, and how we can try to make it succeed. And what the wins for me definitely has been us coming up with the solution that that can assist a co-op actually be functional while being while staying in line with the principles and the values of the co-op. So it's possible. It just need a lot of assistance. So what we really have come up with can really be a game changer.
Paperwork wise, I mean, we have to stick to such strict rules when it comes to cooperative governance. From what you've advised other members, I mean, you do a lot of advisory for Stockfiles in general, right? What are you finding that is a bit different with the way that we're doing things with this one?
So this one, I think the fact that there's a group of companies dedicated to helping this succeed with different strengths from each company is really helping, because with a normal stokvel, when it's still not formalized, it's a bit easier just to deal with the stokvel business of things. And then when it goes to the co-op, what usually happens with the co-ops, they try to do everything themselves and not necessarily outsource things or even get experts involved, because of the notion under the under the co-op industry of everything has to be happening within the co-op. So what I've really found out is that there's actually so much we can do with the co-op and still be in line with the co-op act, but you don't have to do everything yourself. Most of the time, the people that are in co-ops are members that are of an investor type of members, so not necessarily fully operational, all of them. So what we are coming with, we can actually help the co-op function at its optimum level without actually getting everybody involved, which I think will be our success journey, will be focused on that, especially if we work with members that actually do cooperate and see the vision and how we're trying to do this from the different how it's been done all along, because it's really hard to run a business with a lot of people. So you need to give other people the leadership, or to almost steering the whole thing. So for me, that is the greatest thing. We really need to work together, but we need to do it in a clever way.
I mean, I find that working with people in general, like a lot of people, is always troublesome, especially for entrepreneurs. And all of us here are entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs move really fast. We make decisions on the spot. Sometimes we'll make mistakes, but the goal is to get going, like not to be political about things, but to take action and actually execute on that action very quickly. And that's what has enabled us to get to this point so quickly. In 5 weeks, we've just crossed R1 million because we take action. We spoke about this idea once, but Tabile had fully conceptualized it and come to us and said, "Look, guys, here's what I'm thinking about, and let's do this thing." And she had a thing, and then she happened to find the right people with the right spirit, and within days we decided that we're doing this thing and we ran with it. And I think there's something to really take into consideration there when you participate in a stock file, that I hope you don't come with your traditional mindset to the stock file, to this thing that we are doing. I hope you don't come with the mindset of coming to sit on a committee and to talk. We don't want talkers. We're not talkers in this group, and we hate talking. We love doing, and then reflecting back and saying, "Oh, look, we made a mistake there. Oh, we messed up there. Oh, we made a win over there." Because when you're reflecting on something, it becomes a whole lot better to know what the next steps will be, versus when you're still deliberating and busy holding a whole codesa about how to start a business. And I am hoping that this is what we can transfer as a skill set to anybody that participates in this thing that we are doing meaningfully. And I am really excited that a lot of the people who joined the Stockfile, they didn't even ask us too many questions. They were like, "What? You guys are doing what? I'm in." And they transferred the money like this the moment they got the details. So what I am saying to you is, for instance, like, "Oh, I see that you're asking a question from Ulindela. Do you perhaps have some estimates on what the returns could be for investors in the 5-year period?" Not sure if this question has been covered. This question is covered in the document, and I want to leave it to that. Please subscribe. Tell Lindela to subscribe in the same way that you have subscribed and you're a member. They must subscribe to the link. When they subscribe to the link, there's an automatic email pack that comes out and gets into their inbox. Usually, they will find it under the spam folder or the updates folder, or let me just check what other things Google has. So Google has promotions, social updates, and primary. In one of those folders, you will find the email, and the email will be coming from info@thud.africa. When you click that email, it's got information, and then it's got a button that you click. When you click that button, you download the document. That document has got a full presentation about the Stockfile opportunity, this franchising opportunity through the Stockfile. So, and it's got a lot of frequently asked questions. We've done that so that we can minimize on wasting time when we speak to people in public. And we want people to read. We want people to be diligent when they're engaging us. We want them to be prudent in their thinking. So I don't want to answer, because then it gets out of hand. I don't want to answer like minimum questions like, how much is this or how much is that? Read the document so that you're asking us with full understanding of what the opportunity is. Otherwise, you are not committed. I want commitment from your side. And the first step of commitment is you subscribing to that link and downloading the pack and reading through the pack, because then you will ask different questions from the questions that would be coming through without you knowing what the opportunity is. Very, very important. I am begging everybody who's watching this or who is hearing this for the first time, click on the link to subscribe to the THUDmoney franchise Stockfile. And once you've clicked, you're going to fill in a little questionnaire. It does not mean you're joining by clicking on that link. You're just subscribing to the database. When you subscribe, you get an automatic email that sends you the information that you are looking for. Very, very important, because this is your money. So you don't want to just hear what we have to say with our mouths, but you want to see that what was the thought process that went into all of this. Tsepo, I have a question for you, bro. I mean, you've been watching a lot of stock files on your platform. Tsepo has quite a lot of stock files. I think there's about 14,000 people on Stockfella. I could be wrong with the numbers, but there's so many groups that are doing really beautiful, enterprising things when it comes to using the Stockfile model. I know, for instance, Saki Sizwe, Abo Slindile, they're doing some amazing stuff. I was watching their presentation the other night where they were telling us about the property Stockfile and how they taking cash collectively and buying into properties, and I was just like, wow. So there's an awakening. There's an awakening that is happening. How are you seeing, Tsepo, the opportunity for entrepreneurs to tap into collective capital, but to be accountable to the process. Because that's pretty much what we are doing even with this. We are getting people to participate meaningfully in an investment opportunity that helps all of us collectively.
Yeah, so very good question. Yes, and we have multiple of those stokvels on our platform that actually do wonderful things, from farming to property, as you mentioned, from business to purchase orders, such as the People's Stokvel. So, what I've learned, arguably, right, is getting the core people who've got the skills to sit around the table and letting them drive. Take Slinida for an example. She's got the skill in property. She studied it. She's got an MBA as well. So entrusting her and the ability to do what she does and stop holding her back from that point of view, and where Stockfella comes in is it just enables that trust to be visualized, because a lot of people trust, but they trust with their eyes closed, basically, right? So what we do is that at least you can see that trust, that what she's doing, what she says she's doing it from a point A to Z. So that's what I've learned. The most successful stokvels on our platform, particularly, are the ones that actually get the right skill, the right attitude person in the leadership position. You don't just want to become a chairperson because of I know who and therefore I've got a loud voice. No, you actually have the backing up skill. And most of these entrepreneurs, if you want to call them that, who are stokvel chairperson, actually also own their own businesses. So you are backing someone who actually has something to lose as well. If we take from a farming perspective, we touch on, let's say, Mutupi. Mutupi actually owns a chicken farm, actually runs chicken farm. That's what he does. So he already brings the experience around it, So you're not backing someone who says, I think I can do it, but you actually are backing someone who knows what they're doing and how to touch on. And hence why we also said, let's get Batabile involved. So we're not just going to do franchise because we think it's the right thing. We also have someone who knows the work, who understands exactly from A to Z, who's also teaching us, by the way. So we are learning very quickly. And part of becoming a co-op is also we need to pass that skill downwards. So, and part of Palis's job in this whole thing is how do we transfer that skill downwards so that you can also learn everything that we are learning as a member of the co-op. So, and that's the secret ultimately in these specific groups that we have on Stockfella, is that Mutupi not only and Selene, not only do they lead from the front, but they also pass the knowledge downwards. And that's is a very key, important, successful thing. They have their seminars. You've attended Slim, there's one. It's on a continuous basis where they teach their members and they clarify things, and that's very key ultimately. So the right skill, the right attitude, the skin in the game, and as well as the teaching. Those are the 4 key elements. If you get a leader that can do that, your stokvel becomes suddenly successful overnight.
Yeah. So in essence, each stokvel needs a champion, and it needs to bet on an entrepreneur, not just a talker, not a political person who can mobilize only, but somebody who actually has the backing, who can do the work. The reason the People's Stokvel works is because we've got Luyanda, who's the champion in the People's Fund, who actually runs the fund itself, and he does an excellent job. So just that linkage between the two worlds is what we are trying to bring a point across here, is that we find jockeys to bet on, and then we make sure that we support them fully, and we give them the necessary support. I mean, we'll be setting up committees in our stokvels to make sure that there's diligence, to make sure that our checks and balances are in place and stuff. But we don't get in the way of the jockey running, because then we're not going to win if we decide to interfere too much with the process of running this. But Tabile, I know that you've got a better network now, né? I just want to get a sense from you as a franchisee, right? And as a multi-franchisee who's been in this game for 6 years. What are you finding? The sentiment in the market, by Tabile, and I want us to address it with each episode of this thing that we run. The sentiment in the market that we are going in a time when companies are falling, when the food industry is falling. What is the data saying on the ground? I mean, I can speak for what I saw when I visited a few franchisees, and I saw that they're making money. But I just want to hear it from you, from the horse's mouth. What is happening, and what's your feeling in general? Did you hear me, Batabile? I see she said your volume. I'm not sure whether or her volume.
Hi.
Hello, Mokhote. Did you hear my
Can
question?
you hear me? Because now suddenly I can't hear your volume.
Ask Simon. We can hear you.
I'm moving around the store because I'm at work, but I can't hear your volume now.
Okay. Waruka Honano. Can you hear us now? Yes. Okay. I think let's excuse Batabile.
Now I can't hear.
No, it's fine. But just tell her offline that it's cool. We will cover her, Shem. I understand. But Tabile runs a few businesses, guys, and she's currently at work, and I think she's struggling with network from where she's operating from. I can't mention the brand for confidentiality reasons. You will see it on social media if you're following her. Tsepo, I'm going to come back to you. Ne? So the question that came up, but I want to tie it back into something else. A question that came up was, okay, so group 1 is closed. You guys are running with group 2. How does this work? What if group 2 raises money faster than group 1? Like, what are the scenarios? What's going to happen?
Yeah, sure. That's a very good question. So ultimately, to buy this opportunity, the franchise is 1.5 million. So end of the day, whoever raises the 1.5 million, that's who we go with first. I mean, we'll be, sense lack of a better word, idiotic not to, because we're enabling the opportunity based on the target being the rands and cents, not being the timeline. Right, so that's from a point of departure. There's no reason why Group 1 can't be the first one to get there, because they got more money than Group 2. I mean, they are almost close to 900,000, where Group 2 is only at 200,000. So there's no reason not to. But because Group 2 is contributing at a much more faster rate, that could happen, and therefore we then say, okay, great, Group 2, we implement you first, from that point of view. However, the information dissemination between Group 1 and Group 2 is slightly a bit different. And why we say that is because the first Group 1 is going to get more information compared to Group 2. But as soon as Group 2 hits that milestone that we need of 100 people, we'll then start pushing more information towards them. All right. So from that point of view, that's the second scenario, that from an information perspective, Group 2 might be lagging. But if they reach their target first, they will make sure that they don't lag anymore. They come very quickly from an information perspective. So those are the scenarios that are there more than anything else, to say, whatever group gets to 1.5 million, they're the ones that own the store first, arguably the first store that we go out with from that point. Yeah.
Okay. Palisa, there's a thorny question that keeps popping up, ne? There's members of the stokvel who are potential cooperative members who have participated. Ne? They've paid in the minimum, because initially when we communicated that it was timeline driven, and by timeline driven we said we've got a 4-month period to raise this money. We're raising it for November so that we can launch the store in December. And then we came back in week 2 and said, guys, we've gone out to the market and we've had a few learnings. And we are adapting the model to be milestone driven as opposed to timeline driven. And by milestone driven, we're simply saying, if it so happens that we can raise the money in a month or 2, we will move accordingly. So with each milestone that we get to, we take particular actions, right? Right now, we are in the background, we are preparing for the cooperative group to get going. We're preparing to incorporate, to have our formation meeting and all of that. Like all of that, we are ready in the background. But we actually can't do anything until we get to the 1.5 million rand mark, because that's when we can actually incorporate and become a cooperative, because we would have been able to raise the actual money that must go into this thing. Having said that, how do we handle it? There's people that are raising their hand wanting to be board members, right? And there's people in group 2 who have paid full amounts and saying, guys, if you have space and it so happens that somebody defaults, we're here. Would like to participate in that space. How do we navigate this thorny environment? Because come end of August, the newsletter we sent out, we said, guys, we'd like to encourage everybody to pay in full like we have ourselves, so that we can actually get to the next step. We can't actually take the money and go and buy the franchise or do anything else or pay franchise fees or anything up until we've reached the full amount. Come 31st August, and we've got 93 fully paid members. We've got 7 members who can't afford to pay up until end of November. How do we navigate this? What are options that are on the table? Like, how do we engage in an environment that doesn't make people feel small, but where we've got a target, we've got a thing. Yeah.
So I think first of all, with the Co-op 1 members, those are the first preference because they already reached the initial required amount that we wanted in order for them to be in Co-op 1 in the first place. So I think those will take first consideration first. Then from there, we need to be really realistic because we are milestone driven now. That if you showing that your commitment will be by your money, so fully paid members will be taken into consideration more than not fully I'm still talking about the Co-op 1 people now. So for example, if you want to be a board member, your commitment will have to show in the pocket. You're gonna have to be paid up, fully paid up, in order to be firstly considered to be a board member, because there is a clear commitment that you are showing to the cooperative by paying the full amount. Then I think because, to be fair, it was communicated in time that this is what we are working towards. We want to get to this 1.5 million now, and you've got until end of August to do this. And this is communicated specifically to the Co-op members, so they almost have a first preference in terms of getting the money together by 31st of August to be able to do this. So we're gonna look into that. Should we get there now, and there's still some people that are holding others back in terms of fully paid members, and there are other fully paid members, then we're going to have to decide also as a team, what do we do with those? So for me, to the members of the Co-op, I would say I wouldn't want to rope in the group 1 people to come to us when we met the first mandate. So I would encourage that let's just get the fully paid up by as Co-op members, and should others not to be there, we're gonna have to look into group 2 because we need to get moving.
Yeah. So a recommendation is that members can be swapped around, so that we can get to the milestones that we're working with. Otherwise, momentum drops. And
yes, I think we're gonna have to go with that after evaluating that everyone in Co-op 1 didn't pay the 15,000, give them an option of swapping with somebody that is fully paid into the groups 2.
Okay. Tsepo, there's a question. Thanks, Palisa. Tsepo, there's a question for you, ne? And this is a technical one, and I realized that it's because a lot of people didn't actually read the messages where they got about the change of reference numbers now that they've been moved into the Co-op. So Utulani here is saying, I've made a payment earlier this week, but it hasn't reflected on my profile. How long does it take before I can see it on my profile? Can you just cover that, Tsepo?
Yeah, super. So if Tulan is part of the top 100, I don't know every single person's name in the top 100. I'll have to check, but he would probably been moved to the Co-op 1 and gotten a new reference membership number, so to speak, right? And he needs to use that new membership number. That's how we pick up his payment. If he uses the old one, we've removed him from the old Stockfell. Therefore, that membership number does not exist anymore. Therefore, it will then go into a suspense account or a holding account up until we then know this is Tulani's money, then move that money forward. So Tulani can then email info@stockfella.com with the query and arguably with the proof of payment. Then we can then definitely track his money and move it forward from that point of view.
All right. Thanks, Tsepo. The other question is Can one belong to more than one group? Yeah, of course, you can belong to multiple groups. That quite a few members have actually done that. So there's members that have paid into group 1 and into group 2, because some people come to us. The challenge that we are facing, guys, we have made the amount affordable, 15,500 Rand to be a shareholder of one of the 100. And there's people who have 200,000, 300,000. And we are saying to them, you can divide it up into the different groups that you will be participating in. Later on, there will be an opportunity when we get to phase 2 of our growth, where it becomes a secondary cooperative, where we can buy more than one franchise inside a particular group. And there's people who've got more than others, so it will be rationed accordingly. But it's all subject to members voting and everybody agreeing to the same thing. So it will be discussed as a collective, and a decision will be made, and then we would know which way to move forward. So it's not a unanimous decision that's made by one person, but it's a decision that is made by the collective, and then we move forward, because that is the whole point of why we're setting this up as a cooperative, as a stokvel that then moves into a cooperative. It is to make sure that we are all equal in how we make our decisions and everything else. Us on the outside, the company that is putting this together, we are just look at us as the company that is here to baby the process and make sure that in this full 5-year period, everything that has been promised is actually delivered accordingly. So we are your accountability partners in between the franchisor and the cooperative. You've got somebody to point at if something goes wrong, as opposed to, because one of the things that makes cooperatives fail in this country, and let me recategorize that makes black cooperatives fail in this country, is that because everybody's an equal shareholder, everybody wants to stick their fingers in the pot and make a decision, but they might not be the right skill to do that. Whereas what we're supposed to do from a governance perspective is we can all vote as shareholders in terms of what must happen, but we must appoint a working committee that takes decisions on behalf of the stokvel, and then we hold them accountable to the process and make sure that they're not messing up to that. Accountability is everything. Let us make sure that we are accountable to this process, but also as a member that has joined, don't expect things to come rolling down, and don't expect manna to fall from heaven with this thing. It's not just going to happen overnight like that. We are all learning. It's a new learning process. There's no entity that has done franchising with stokvels in the past in this country. It hasn't happened before. So it's a brand new innovative model, but we're fortunate that we have de-risked it by buying into franchising as opposed to going to invest in brand new businesses where failure is at a much higher rate than anything else. I hope we've covered everything that is necessary for today. I think what I am going to do just quickly is reiterate that, guys, we sent out a newsletter. There's 2 newsletters that came out this week, and I realized when I was speaking to a few members that you have not opened your emails. One email comes from stokvels@THUD.Africa. That email is purely directed at cooperative members. If you're a co-op member, please go and view that email. That email will show you the process of what needs to happen next. We've written in there at the bottom, it speaks about the process from stokvel to cooperative, and then we've given you a step-by-step guideline of the next things that need to happen. We've told you about the incorporation progress and what happens under that, and we've also told you about the co-op formation meeting preparations. So we are going to hold a meeting online. We're going to follow a due process, and there's things that you have to do on your side as a member that are very important. We have to FICA you. You have to upload your ID documents. There's quite a few things. So you have to go and actually view that email. Don't just come to us and ask us what happens next. I wouldn't appreciate that. I would appreciate that people actually read their documents because they're important. This is your money. Take accountability to the process. And remember that as much as you hold us accountable to this thing, you would know who to ask about where your money is and stuff. We are also holding you accountable to the process of making sure that you're doing the things that you're supposed to do on your side. I want to end it off there for now. And I want to also encourage everybody that we are still looking for sites. So if you have contacts and you have sites that you're thinking about that you think this could be a really great site, please do recommend them to us. I will share again We will share. In fact, Mfundo, please share in the comment section there the video that we've put up for site search, because in that video you will see the criteria of what we're looking for and what we need. There's a very specific criteria from the franchisor of what type of sites to look for and where. And our mandate, or rather our ambition, and why we set this thing up, is to make sure that we are creating jobs in the hood, in townships. A Jimmy's franchise, for instance, takes about 13 employees just by opening. So imagine that we'll be able to employ each other in this, and we will be looking for operators that will run the franchise. So there's opportunity. If you happen to be in the franchising or the food space and you're really good at it, you've got a proven track record of being a manager, join the franchise. Join the Stokvel, so that you could be somebody that we could look at who could potentially be the runner of this thing. You wouldn't just be running the store, but you would also be a shareholder. But you have to join any of our Stokvels for you to participate in this meaningfully. That is the nature of community collaborations and Stokvels. We only employ within. That's what other organizations have done. That's what other races have done. And here we are proving it. We are showing up and we're saying we're going to employ each other. We are going to be profitable. We are going to buy from our own stores. So be on that lookout. And we also expect that our members are going to be the same people that are going to promote the stores, that are going to tell their family members to go and buy from the store, so that it is sustainable and we can see our returns over the 5-year period. We are tired of talking, we are doing. And we're gonna make sure that we become profitable in what we are doing. And we are not going to buy one franchise. We are not those people. We want to buy 20 to 100 franchises. It takes us as a community to do that collectively and to do that successfully. It's not just us. We will drive the vision because we're very clear about where we're going, and we've proven it. We've proven it in the People's Fund. We've done over 100 million rand in purchase order funding, in revenue. So, and that is done by a collective of Black companies that have come together and have done something amazing together. We've also done it in the People's Stokvel, where we are collecting 100 rand every month, and we're taking that money and funding purchase orders. With the People's Stokvel, we're building a bank in the next couple of years. And some of the colleagues that are in this session are part of the People's Stokvel as well. So you can see what we're doing. We choose industries that we know where we can make meaningful change, and we go after it. So here we are in franchising. We're going to make some beautiful successes. And I'm trusting that you are going to participate in this meaningfully, not just with your mouth, but with your pocket as well as with your hands, because we need to do this thing collectively. Guys, any parting shots on your side before we can it? Can start with you, Tebo.
Ladies first.
Okay.
I was about to say ladies first.
Okay, I think I'm very excited that we have really into this milestone. We have reached this milestone. I'd like to encourage our members to really pay up by end of August so that we can make this a reality. But most importantly, to work with us as we trying to get this to be a success.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. Tebo?
Yeah, collaboration is the next innovation, as you always put it, Lebogo. So as much as we are collaborating here as the 4 entities, we need our members to collaborate with us as well. That's the only way we can make this a success. So as much as you hold us accountable, like Lebogo, we're going to hold you back accountable on collaboration. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. By the way, Mulebalo, I hope I said that correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't. Just said something that we're constantly telling everybody. Saying, I found mine in spam, so check your spam folder. Please, guys, your emails are in there. Check them out. They're there. And I would like to tap out by thanking our team in the background. We've got some really amazing team members who make this thing look so smooth for all of us. Umbali, with the videos, with the content, she's the person that you're engaging with on social media. Data, who's handling with the admin. Umfundo, who's your teammate? Tebo, I'm forgetting his name. It just slipped my tongue.
Pearson,
and Batabile's colleague. Also, his name just ran away from me because I'm usually reading these names. But I'm just giving these special shout outs because it takes a village to do this thing, and there's dedicated team members in the background who are doing amazing work for all of us collectively. Thank you, guys. Check you out next week again.